Since I'm in Aries, I'm like, well, I'm just going to read from my phone for everything.
Okay, let's go all the way up to Arlington, Texas, and bring up Travis Blair, whose poem is in the week of April 19th.
Thank you, Scott. I print my poems in considerably larger font than you'll find in the book because my eyesight along with my hair has gone off and hidden somewhere from me. The poem in the calendar is a short poem called Rivalry. Big D's oil-rich fathers weren't going to let Fort Worth call Dallas a one-horse town. They built that revolving sign, Pegasus on two sides perched atop the Magnolia building, wings flapping, proud chest pumping, red neon light visible for miles. And, I was fortunate enough to have my new poetry book, Hazy Red and Diesel Gray, come out about 2 weeks ago, and all the poems in this book are set in Texas, and some of them are set in Austin. This is one of those poems. It's called 28s. 28 months passed before she returned to Austin, walked down the drag, stopped at the university newsstand. She pretended to browse magazines, but her hand shook. She couldn't turn the pages. She felt the ominous clock tower looming behind her, 28 stories tall, its shadow falling across her back like crosshairs in the scope of Whitman's rifle. The crack of shots rang out in her memory, the slow motion fall of a man, her own frantic drop behind a curbed Nash Rambler. She flinched at 28 rifle pops, watched a blood pool seep from beneath a man's head onto a Batman comic book. She remembered how life faded from his eyes, how they glazed over unaware. It seemed forever before help came and dragged them out. But she remembered looking at her watch. Only 28 minutes had passed. Thank you.
Do you need to switch anything up? No, okay. Let's bring up then, coming back to Austin, Shubh Schiesser. And her poem is in the week of December 27th, right at the end of the book.
Good evening, friends.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
A little louder.
Greetings from Wimberley. A chalice moon overflowed, spilling light unto 3 iron frogs standing in the doorway of Creek Haven Inn. One had a flute, the second a guitar, and the third drums. Their fedoras vibrated with each burst of Happy New Year piped through their open mouths. Under the starburst sky, a ceramic fish spouted water into a pond, creating ripples which were teased into wide circles by a zephyr wind. Bronze and copper leaves danced across the expanse of the lawn. They too murmured, Happy New Year, before resting for all land they sang. The second poem is about one and only insect which I love, and since my childhood it is called Jugnu in my language, means firefly. Jugnu. Eager to swing on rainbows, weightless and unhinged, fireflies flicker their wings night after night, fly like kites into a baffled sky, wander like nomads, pluck bright stars and nestle beneath an awning of trees. Tease the night's orb. If you are the moon, We are your moonlight. Thank you.
Let's bring up another Austinite, well, a little bit north of Boston, Gloria Amescua.
My poem has some Spanish words in it. The title is Mi boca es un desierto, which is my mouth is a
It's the week
desert.
of August 16th, by the way. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah, they might want to look at it. Although it has a lot of Spanish words that are cognates, they sound very much like in English. Mi boca es un desierto, searing and barren. I cannot find the words that dwell in the wellspring, plump fluid to my lips. Necesito tu mapa de venas azules, fingertip to the source. Lost in the wilderness with no landmarks in sight. No puedo decirte cómo hallarme. I'm afraid I will bleach to bone. The other poem I'm going to read is one I wrote fairly recently. I'm going to give it to my older brother for Christmas. It's kind of a portrait poem. I'm still working on the one for my younger brother, which is much harder. I don't know why, but it is. Canvas of our years together for Andy. You, the needle pulling threads of memories we rest in. Keeper of the keys. Scrawny beanstalk boy, become big brother fireplace. We warm our hands there. Dad's right hand, builder, creator, helper, mowing lawns, cold hands splitting firewood. Mom's bright mirror, reigning in the wilderness, bills, legalities, and us. Aunt busy, you carved a fresh trail through field grass. Puppy dog eyes perusing the world, a shy smile, quizzical brows, now white. Your injured eye, the shadow interplay of negatives, seeing beyond sight. Rooster crow mornings, faded flannel jeans and comfy jeans tinkerer. A coffee can nuts and bolts guy, a well-tuned 60s car there quietly purring. Word gifter, you brought English to our table. It took a seat and never left. Laughter of old coins, piggy bank of our desires, ticket to the blues, to rock and roll, driver of experience, white light in a bottle, holding up the sky.
All right, let's go back to Houston again and bring up Christina McDonald. Or is she not here? I think she may not be here. Okay. That makes that easy. But let's go with Houston anyway, and let's bring up Vanessa Zimmer-Powell, who I know is here, and her poem is in the week of March 15th.
Hello. Driftwood. So many ways the day passes like water holding sand. The fragmented grain of seashells from Galveston shore. And this driftwood I am, new daily with sun, salt, moss, barnacles. Time bathes me into texture. People photograph my striations. I am put on a shelf, made into a chair. If you touch me, I am your history. Too many calendars? There's never too many calendars.
No, there's not.
So while I was thinking about what I wanted to read, I thought about this poem that I wrote this summer, and just kind of made me think about the end and the beginning of things. So this is from, and so I was looking at some of Andrew Wyeth's paintings, and this is called Windows. Andrew Wyeth, what wind you bring, this window, the open O, I feel like falling into, like weight pressed upon green branches, like a dance upon the lip of wave. Here I taste dust, manna of ancestors, the death of my skin. You give me this visitor so that my house will not be empty, so that I drink well the cup of whispers, so that the frame of me opens out and in. Thank you.
Let's bring up Sarah Webb from Burnett, Texas. Next, she is the week of June 14th. And I know Sarah has a book here too. I heard her read from it. Right here.
June 14th, that week. I'll read this twice, it's real short. In the Tanaha, a white line where water dried, sweat salt on the lips. In the Tanaha, a white line where water dried, sweat, salt on the lips. So my book has a lot of black in it, a lot of black birds in it, and this is one of my favorite poems from it. It's called The Altruism of Birds. Ravens clamor the flock to a hidden feast, hark and hoot to show the way. They share. We'll assume it's for the usual reasons, courting or potlatch or the bullying strength of numbers. Why are we surprised? After all, people share, and often for no reason that we can name. Men share and wolves share. A raven may tip his wing to a hunter. A badger may shelter a boy in a den. A roadrunner adopted a man I knew. The bird would bring him lizards and grasshoppers, lay them at his door as a cat might. Once she brought the egg of a wren. Once she came right up to the man as he sat in the shade of his patio, and she looked at him. Her eye had that glint that might mean anything. Pride in her prowess, yearning for the touch of his beak, or delight in the glare of the sun and the taste of snake before it is given away.
All right, let's bring up Austin's own Amy Greenspan. Her poem is in the week of May 31st.
This is called Emeritus. His office, always cluttered, finally is bare. 50 years of teaching law, packed in boxes, hauled away. They say they need the space for someone younger. Only dusty blinds remain. He grips his cane, pulls the cord, leans toward waning light. To savor, no, to memorize the view. A final look at campus, framed by windows he can claim. The parking lots, the massive shrines of football start to fade. He sees again a grassy field where baseball once was played. Noble trees and sloping lawns where students used to gather. The sunlight shifts, illuminates his fingerprints clumped together on the glass where every night he'd reach to close the blinds. With shaky hand, he stretches up, leaves one more set of fingerprints behind. That's for my dad. And I owe it to Wing Beats exercise, the window poem, which I highly recommend. It's a great exercise. And this next poem...
Which was written by Kurt Heinzelman, I believe.
Kurt Heinzelman, yes.
And he's here somewhere, or he was.
Thank you. And this one I have to thank Scott for. It's from your workshop at the Austin Feminist Poetry Festival, which is also, I think, from a Wing Beats 2 exercise. The poem didn't end up inform anything at all like the exercise, but the content is purely Scott's prompts. So it's called The Tundra Laughs in Summer. On western peaks, the tundra laughs, tickled by toenails of picas rushing to hide their winter hoard. She giggles when marmots whistle, blushes as hikers gasp at her naked beauty. When ice and snow run off to play in tree-lined waterfalls, she basks in sun, bares her skin to wind. Dwarf clover, shrunken shrubs, moss pinks merge in gray-green fuzz, nuzzle her rocky shoulders. But something's wrong. Songs of white-tailed ptarmigans grow rare. Air, unguarded, turns too warm. Alpine plants, creatures cannot climb to cooler climes. This backyard of the sky is at the top. As picas die, the tundra cries.